Michael Robinson, let's talk about these Falcons and how they can get back into the playoffs. What do they need to do?
Well, I tell you
besides
one thing.
win.
Yeah, Tiffany hit it right on the head, right? They have to own the line of scrimmage offensively and get Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman going. I mean, last week they only had 17 rushes between the two of them for only 48 yards. That cannot happen if this team want to be the type of team it wants to be. And also, Julio Jones. Steve talked about it a little bit earlier. Target this guy. This guy's been being targeted all over the place. Target him because he drives coverage, he can dictate coverage, and it makes it easier to call plays. Now, I'm talking about Julio Jones, but other receivers got to step up, and sometimes what you do is you see Matt Ryan just get locked on Julio Jones a little bit too much, and you have open guys running wide open. So, Matt Ryan, sometimes look other places than Julio Jones. You have Mohamed Sanu, who is a capable backup, Taylor Gabriel, and those running backs out of the backfield could bode well for them if they want to do something in the playoffs. Yeah,
you look at Matt Ryan and his touchdowns this year. Andy Dalton has more. Derek Carr has more.
And he was MVP last year, right? He was MVP last year.
MVP last year.
You know, Garofalo always talking, oh, he's MVP, he's MVP. Yeah, I'm talking about you, Garofalo.
Oh, well, you know what? While we're talking about Garofalo, why don't we let Garofalo talk? Hey, buddy.
Thank you. I love talking. One of my favorite things. 4 teams fighting for 2 wild card spots. Ravens and Titans have the inside track. All they need to do is win. Those are my favorite scenarios, Steve Smith. Win and you're in. It's nice and simple.
Yes.
But if one of them falls, that opens things for the Chargers and the Bills. Speaking of Buffalo, they're in Miami today to face the Dolphins, where James Palmer is roughing it in that Miami weather like the rest of our reporters. James, are you hanging in there? Are you okay?
Guys, we haven't even hit 50 yet today, so it's a little nippy down here. And also I'm having to deal with the sound of these blowers that are going on in the background. They put the Dolphins paint on this field. Remember, the ceremony for the Orange Bowl ended after midnight, so this morning we've literally been watching paint dry. But the focus not on the field, it's going to be up at the scoreboard. I talked to LaShawn McCoy this week, who at his locker told me he may be the only realist in the NFL. He'll be watching the out-of-town scoreboard, seeing what's happening in those other games that could help the Bills get into the playoffs. He said it's only human nature. But what the Dolphins have to do, slow down LaShawn McCoy. He said he knows he has a target on his back. He knows they'll be focused on him. He has to get them in third and short. That's the one thing the Dolphins have been good at, third down. Now let's go to Baltimore, a game that Shady will have his eye on, and Tom Pelissero.
James, while you're sunbathing down there in South Beach, I'll just point out again that here in Baltimore, it's cold. We'll get up to about 25 degrees by kickoff, but the wind's been whipping enough that the crew just actually had to tape this thing down right before we went on the air. The Ravens can wrap up their playoff berth today with a win or with help, and they think if they get into the postseason, they can be dangerous. I brought up to multiple players that the Ravens are 0-5 this season against other teams in the playoff hunt, but Joe Flacco, among others, pointed to that 39-38 loss to the Steelers 3 weeks ago as evidence that they're not that far away. Flacco told me, we think we can stand up with anybody. 8 playoff road wins under John Harbaugh. That's the most of anybody in the NFL since 2008. And Mike, they think that they are equipped to do that again.
Thank you, Tom. I am of the belief that any win in the NFL is a good win. However, when you look at this and what the Ravens have done against the playoff teams and the non-playoff teams, Steve Smith, you can see the split there.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the opponent's points per game, 31.2 against playoff teams, 11.5 against non-playoff teams. So if you're ever going to make that case, you're going to make that case here. I will say this about the Ravens. They get smacked early in the season by the Jaguars in London. That was a terrible game for them.
I witnessed that.
You were there live. You saw the carnage flying on that one for the Ravens. They went 4-5 going into their bye week. But now, like the Ravens are wont to do, they're putting some games together. I was down there in Baltimore. Terrell Suggs said John Harbaugh did a great job this year of making sure we didn't get a case of the, I've got to edit this for TV, the screw-its. Okay? Because at some point during the season, a couple times we could have said, oh, screw it. Eric Weddle told me Harbaugh did a great job with the schedule this year, allowing them to come in later, but still leave at the same time. So the days there are a little tighter. He said he's done a great job. So you tell me, you look at this Ravens team, you look at where they've come from, are they dangerous heading into the postseason?
Well, first of all, I have to address the schedule thing. When the schedule comes out and who they have to play, that's not up to them. You didn't know that Aaron Rodgers was going to get hurt and Brett Huntley was going to be the quarterback, so that's not up to them. They line up and play whoever's on the schedule week in and week out. Every team does that. But if I can plug and play this Ravens team to make the perfect threatening team going into the playoffs to have a deep run, I have to say, first of all, compare the offense to the defense. The offense has been inconsistent compared to the 3 shutout games that the defense has done. But if I can plug and play, I want the offense from the Steelers game, and I want the defense from the Dolphins game when they pitched that 40-0 game. And then all of a sudden I mix that, and that's the team that I want. If you can have that, you could go deep in the playoffs and possibly be playing a Jaguars defense